Week 8 is over in the books, and we're back with a best ball recap for it. Also going to do a recap of just the week in general as a whole. So we'll start out with that. We'll also talk about some injuries that took place. So let's actually go ahead and do that before we talk about the game. Actually, we can talk injuries as we talk about the games. I'll probably forget some injuries as we go through this, but if you're looking at Thursday night game, Rams lose to the Vikings. This one's been talked about a lot, obviously, because it was on Thursday. Feels like forever ago, but this was a big one. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua back. Puka and Kupp only played around like 55% of the snaps each, but when they were on the field, they were obviously getting targeted. So if we look at here, Kupp 58% of the snaps and 57% for Puka. So kind of split that. It looked like Kupp was more limited than Puka. To be expected, Kupp's over 30. I think he's 31, and Puka is much younger. Even with a more severe injury, him coming back will be a fresher player just because of being a younger guy, right? About maybe 7-8 years younger. Just again, that's just how it works in the real world. That's physiology. Younger people heal faster, especially the genetically elite. They will obviously heal faster when they're younger. As you age, that declines. But Cooper Kupp, regardless, to say the least, Kupp did look a little worse than Puka as well. But they both get home because Kupp gets the touchdown. Puka gets the volume and big run after the catches, like he always does. And then Demarcus Robinson gets 2 touchdowns on 2 catches in the red zone. Knew that he would be back and staying in 3 wide receiver sets. And the Rams notoriously with Kupp and Puka run 11 personnel at the highest clip whenever both of them are on the field. So it's obvious that Demarcus Robinson was also out there. He played 85% of the snaps, while Tyler Johnson and Tutu Atwell were 38 and 13% respectively. So good to see there. Jordan Whittington was out too. He was injured, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when he comes back, where all the other snaps lie, but knew that DeMarcus would be a hit once he had the other 2 alphas in the offense and the eyes off of him. Kyron gets home, still owns the whole backfield. Don't ever think it. Stafford, dog, once he gets his boys back. But yeah, if we're looking at the Viking side, not a horrible day, but I'm sure if you're watching this and you don't know, they lost their left tackle, Darisaw, who is one of the best in the NFL, and actually signed a big deal this past offseason. So without him, Darnold was under pressure a lot more. The offense kind of stalled out. Just the passing game wasn't there when he left. And then Aaron Jones was very inefficient. And then Justin Jefferson will always get home. The other ones are just all up in the air week to week. But that's that game. Keep that short because of it being a Thursday nighter. If we're looking over to the Packers Jaguars, 30-27. The Jags suck. They also lose Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Kirk this game. Christian Kirk's out for the year. And then Brian Thomas Jr. with a rib injury. Some reports say day-to-day, some say week-to-week. To keep an update on that, when we do our week preview for week 9, we can kind of go over that. Gabe Davis was also missing this game, but we'll see if he'll be back next week. Jordan Love gets injured in this one as well. Throws an interception. Apparent groin injury. People seem to have thought that it was his knee. It was supposedly a groin injury. So not good there. He'll most likely miss 1 week at least. A groin injury would be very tough to play on. Very limited mobility for sure. And as we know, the Packers can win with Malik Willis. They just did this past week, and they've done it before without Jordan Love this year, which means they're going to rely heavily on Josh Jacobs, who balls out this game, 127 yards on the ground. over 5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Doesn't get a ton of receiving work, but it's not necessary when you're averaging 5 yards a carry and you're getting all the red zone work and breaking off big plays. He looks great. Assuming Malik Willis is under center next week, he'll still be the one to start. He's the only one to start if Malik Willis does go. Jaguars side, Lawrence looks a little better. Does get a rushing TD for fantasy. Eclipses 300 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, but obviously does it with a depleted receiver group. Evan Ingram is going to be the number 1 target if BTJ misses and Gabe Davis again. But everything's just depleted here. Tank Bigsby looks all right. Green Bay's been a great defense. So not much to take away there. If you're in a pinch, Parker Washington could be a potential pickup, but you'll need to see how this all plays out. So we'll leave that at that. Commanders Giants, that's next week. My bad. Cardinals Dolphins, 28-27 Cardinals. They win this one in walk-off fashion. We can look at Kyler Murray. Looked pretty good this one. Really efficient passing the ball. Marvin Harrison finally gets there. A lot of like over the middle stuff for him, not just stuck to the boundary. Gets a nice receiving touchdown. Michael Wilson gets there on a receiving touchdown for best ball. James Conner gets the touchdown to make his day worthwhile. Otherwise, just stuffed on the ground and not much in the receiving work. And McBride dominates targets. I want to say 11 or 12 targets and 9 catches for 124. So the 2 alphas are MHJ and McBride. Expect them to get bulk of the work, but Michael Wilson does get red zone targets. And then obviously James Conner, a smash for the workload every week. Dolphins with Tua back. Tua only passes for 234 and 1 touchdown. Achane smashes with Tua back in the lineup. He is their number 2 receiver. Gets the receiving touchdown. Back to being super efficient on the ground, 9.7 yards per carry. Jalen Waddle, obviously it's only the first game back with Tua, but only gets 6 targets, 4 for 45. He drops one over the middle near the 10-yard line, like near the red zone. But I don't know. It's tough moving forward to kind of project Waddle when the manufactured targets go to Achane and Tyreek, and Waddle's just kind of third on the pecking order, when in past years he was second on the pecking order next to Tyreek. So especially with Achane being utilized as a receiver a lot of the times, if you watch the games, Achane and Mostert are in, and Mostert is in the backfield while Achane is either out wide in the slot or just 2 guys in the backfield. So tough to project Jalen Waddle. Raheem Mostert really doesn't get much, but he does get some goal line touches and things up the middle, which sucks for Devon Achane, but at the same time, like, he's in on those plays. It's not like he was like on the sideline. Again, like I said, they were either running two backs in the backfield or Achane was somewhere out wide. So not too concerning there. Good news for Tyreek with Tua back. Good news for Achane. TBD for Jalen Waddle. If you're in a pinch, Raheem Mostert could be a start on touchdown upside. Jets Patriots. Jets lose another one. 2-6. Season's pretty much over. But the good news is Garrett Wilson continues to prove to be the quote-unquote alpha in this offense. It seems that now Devontae's actually pulling some coverage away. I think Christian Gonzalez is also on him today. Garrett working out of the slot, in and out, and things like that. But much more efficient today for Garrett Wilson. 5 for 113. Devontae 4 for 54. I think they were similar in targets again, which is going to continue to be the case where they'll have 8 to 10 targets each per game. Like I said before, the offense is going to funnel between those two and Breece Hall. But worth noting, Braylon Allen did get 12 carries and the goal line touchdown. Which, again, if you're going to run the ball 28 times, you don't want Breece touching the ball 28 times on the ground. But you would like to see more passing or receiving production from Breece Hall. Him touching the ball 20 plus times, but getting him like 5 targets a game. But having him running between the tackles, between the 20s isn't like what you would necessarily want all the time, right? Especially with injury history already. Patriots, I don't know how they do it. They take down the Jets. Drake May has more rushing yards than receiving yards. He leaves this one with a concussion. Let's see how he is for next week. But no pass catchers really get home besides Hunter Henry. Not worried about anybody else. Ramondre with 2 touchdowns, but extremely inefficient. They were both red zone touchdowns. So tough to project him out because without the touchdowns, he's scoring, like 9 points. So interesting to see that. You're going to continue to start Ramondre just because you have to, but not always going to be pretty. Browns take down the Ravens 29-24. Ravens 5-3, now in second place after the Steelers won last night. Browns 2-6. Jameis looks good. Let's talk about the Browns first because of Jameis. 41 pass attempts, so they do continue to sling the football as they wanted to previously, but couldn't with Deshaun. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks for Jameis, although the Ravens dropped like 4 picks, including like a game-sealing one. Cedric Tillman, dog, not much more to say. If you haven't picked him up already, make sure he's on your bench or in your lineup if you need a guy. Especially with 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, he is definitely a starter. Elijah Moore, the next guy in line, just being kind of the Wan'Dale Robinson type slot guy, getting high targets, high volume targets, and then Njoku would be the other guy. Chubb, inefficient on the ground, but gets the bulk of the work. So, I mean, you hope to see that he can get some burst back as the season goes along, but what you're really hoping for is obviously the old Nick Chubb of getting touchdowns at the goal line, but when the offense wants to pass so much, maybe we're not going to get that, but we should have a higher scoring offense moving forward with Jameis at the helm. So Nick Chubb's value does move up a click. The must-starts are obviously Njoku and Tillman. Ravens-wise, I mean, Lamar gets home fantasy-wise. Derrick Henry gets there. Zay Flowers gets there. Mark Andrews another touchdown again. So, Mark Andrews sneaking back into, the must-start territory for a tight end. Zay Flowers is obviously a must-start. Not much to talk about there. Just the typical being funneled through the same guys in Baltimore. Eagles-Bengals, 37-17. Bengals season is near cooked. 3-5. The Eagles are now 5-2. Jalen Hurts, not the prettiest of days, but at the same time, he didn't really have to pass as much this game. He does get 10 carries. There are 3. I think he had like 5 tush pushes on the goal line. Gets 3 touchdowns rushing out of that. 1 through the air to Devonta Smith, like a 40-yard bomb, which gives Devonta Smith that wide receiver 1 status this week. AJ Brown gets there with the high yards per catch at 16.8. He gets you a 13.4 full PPR fantasy points. Saquon, no touchdown this week because of the tush push, but does get you 108 yards on the ground, but only 1 catch. As we suspected, when AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are back, Barkley has less production in the receiving game. Bengals, no T. Higgins this game. Injured, I want to say his quad in practice this week. So just Jamar Chase, which he does get home on a very low yards per catch, but does get the touchdown. Mike Gesicki, actually the leading receiver here. I wouldn't be too crazy about him. Maybe if T. Higgins misses again, maybe he's someone to look to start, but aside from that, let's look at the snap counts this week for Chase Brown and Zach Moss. It was a 50-50 split in terms of snaps. In terms of usage, Chase Brown gets 12 carries to Zach Moss's 5. Both very, very inefficient at under 3 yards per carry. Zach Moss gets more receiving work, 4 for 28. Chase Brown gets 2 for 2. So that backfield is cooked. This offense with no T. Higgins is always cooked. Ugly for the Bengals, but you're going to always start Jamar Chase. If T. Higgins does play, you will always start T. Higgins. Zach Moss and Chase Brown could potentially be benched. Chase Brown does get a touchdown, but it's tough projecting those two moving forward. Maybe in easier matchups, but Colts, Texans, we'll run through this quicker. 23-20. AR rough day, 10 of 32, has a pick and a touchdown. JT looks good. Fully back now for him. Josh Downs looks good, catches a bomb wide open for a touchdown. But that's really it for pass catchers. Again, with AR, it's going to be week to week, boom, bust for all these guys. Really can't start anybody besides Jonathan Taylor here. Texans wise, CJ Stroud, 37 pass attempts, looks a little better than last week. Obviously, but anything's better than 82 passing yards. Joe Mixon, smash again, finishes as an RB1, a top end RB1. Diggs is the big injury this week. Looks like he may have torn his ACL. So no Diggs probably for the year, which leaves next for this Thursday night game, actually, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz as pass catchers with John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson. So, and Tank Dell does get you a touchdown, but still receiving work. He only gets 4 targets on 37 pass attempts, 4 for 35. So the ball's just being spread out. Tank Dell still not fully himself, running a little bit of a different route tree. Maybe with Diggs being out for the year and Collins back, Collins can open things up a little more for Dell, but we'll see. Obviously a must start when Dell's the only option in the offense receiving wise. Now, if we go ahead and look at Lions Titans, not much to even talk about here. Calvin Ridley does smash. I mean, he hit over 100 yards in the first quarter. But that's about it. It's really all you can even start. Tony Pollard looks decent, but again, this wasn't even a football game. 52-14. Everyone gets a touchdown in Detroit damn near every week. They put up so many points every week. They look like the best team in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs, dog. Montgomery, when you're looking at the box score, sure, he gets a touchdown, doesn't look super impressive, but man, he throws a passing touchdown to Sam Laporta in the red zone. Laporta gets him. Like, it's nice. Even St. Brown, who is 2 for 7, obviously a must start, still gets a touchdown. They force feed him one to save his fantasy day. Detroit's sick, man. They're definitely one of the top teams, even without Aiden Hutchinson moving forward. Falcons and Bucks. The last time the Falcons played the Bucks this year, Kirk Cousins throws for 500 yards and like 4 or 5 scores. Does the same thing this week besides the 500 yards, but does go 276 with 4 and no picks. Flawless game for Kirk. Bijan has a nice day. I think he had a run called back, a touchdown run, like a big one. But efficient on the ground. Algier does get work, but much less efficient for him on 2.8 yards a carry. Bijan gets tons of receiving work finally. So that boosts him to, that mid RB1 status still. And then Drake London doesn't get there. Darnell Mooney looks good again. But yeah, Mooney always a start. Drake London still a start. Bijan always a start. And now Kyle Pitts is the tight end too in the last 4 weeks. So looking like a start for him moving forward as well. If you're in a bind and it's going to be a Falcons game and they can project to run the ball, Tyler Algier is not the worst start in the world either. Baker, even with no Mike Evans or Godwin, throws 50 times for 330 yards, 3 scores, and 2 picks. Let's look at the snap counts for Bucky and Rachaad White. Bucky 42%, White 56%. Sean Tucker pretty much erased. But yeah, Bucky, I mean, more efficient. I mean, not more efficient. Honestly, the same efficiency. He gets more carries on the ground, but in the pass game, pretty much identical. So they do split basically work in terms of when they're on the field, but White does get more of the snaps. Aside from that, McMillan doesn't really get there. Palmer, no. Shepard left with a hamstring injury, I want to say. Kate Otten is the one that smashes here for you. But Baker's still proven to just be a dog, even without his best players. We shocked? No, Baker's a dog. Chargers Saints 26-8. Real quick, I mean, not much to talk about with the Saints because no Derek Carr still. Kamara gets there on the receiving volume. Finally, Olave gets there on his receiving volume. And then that's about it. Not much more to talk about. I think Jawan Johnson left the game with concussion, maybe? Not sure. Bub Means got hurt. Taysom Hill back from injury. Chargers look good. The main takeaway here is Vlad McConkey will be the alpha here moving forward. 6 for 111 and 2 scores. No one else pass catching wise startable. Josh Palmer does catch a deep ball though, 2 for 72. And Dobbins extremely inefficient yet again on the ground, but does get bulk of the work. If you're looking at snap counts, Dobbins 82%. Actually, his highest on the year, so not much to even think or talk about there either. Justin Herbert looks good. Moving through this quicker. Bills Seahawks, not much of a game. Bills roll through this one. James Cook looks solid. Ray Davis, not much of a factor, taking work away from him. Shakir crushes. Keon Coleman crushes. Kincaid gets you there with a touchdown. And Amari Cooper really doesn't do anything at all this game. Looking at the Seahawks side, no DK Metcalf this game with that sprained MCL or something, knee injury. Geno does not look good at all. 212, 0 scores, and a pick. The pass rush was getting home to him, I'm pretty sure. Geno's still getting it on the ground. Kenneth Walker, they couldn't get anything going at all, and then they were losing. He does get 4 for 33 through the air, but just offensively, not a good day whatsoever for the Seahawks. So kind of erase that one from memory. Bears Commanders win on a Hail Mary with time expiring for Jaden Daniels to take down Caleb Williams. The Bears looked awful, aside from DeAndre Swift, who continues to look amazing. Broke off a big run for that touchdown. Not even going to look at the pass catchers. Ugly there. Commanders, Jaden Daniels, 326 and a score. Looks good even with that rib injury. Still running the football at 52 yards. Great fantasy asset. McLaurin gets there on some deep balls. Ertz gets there. Noah Brown is the one that catches the Hail Mary, but he is not worth a start. Brian Robinson gets, most of the work. It's just not much. The Bears are a good defense. And Austin Eckler actually outsnapped Brian Robinson this week for 57 to 47%. And he also did that last week. He did that the week before with no Brian Robinson. And the week before when Brian Robinson left. So that was actually the first game he outsnapped. Or second game he outsnapped him in just like a normal game. So worth noting. But Brian Robinson does get majority of the work still. On to the next game. Chiefs Raiders. D-Hop on the Chiefs does really nothing. 2 for 29. Kareem Hunt gets another scammy touchdown at the goal line. Horribly inefficient per usual. Kelsey back to, catching 10-yard passes. 10 yards. 10 for 90 in the score. Worthy gets the target share. Does get like a schemed up score in the red zone. Gets home, but that's about it. There, Patrick Mahomes, not much to talk about. Minshew looked all right against a tough defense, but clearly not enough. Madison, 1 yard per carry. Can't do anything when you can't run the football. Jacoby Myers gets there. Brock Bowers still gets you 5 for 58, but ugly display, but it is against one of the top defenses in the NFL. Panthers 28-14. This was not a game. The Broncos smoked them. Bo Nix, absolute dog of a day. Javonte gets majority of the work, but very inefficient. Jaleel McLaughlin, much more efficient. And Audric Estime is pretty much erased from this offense after fumbling a few times. Courtland Sutton, 8 for 100. He's really the only one that gets there. Pass catching wise, even with 284 yards. Adam Troutman, 2. But I wouldn't look to just start Adam Troutman moving forward. Really, it's Courtland Sutton or bust. But Bo Nix is trending toward being a starter in fantasy football. But one sec, chat. Anyway, sorry about that. But Panthers side, Bryce Young gets to start. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Really not, I mean, you know, Bryce Young stuff. But Jalen Coker gets a touchdown. Xavier Legette gets a touchdown. With Bryce Young at the helm, it's just so hard to start anybody. Andy Dalton obviously in that car crash with a right thumb injury too. So Chuba for once doesn't get there. I mean, again, if Bryce Young starting, we are avoiding the Panthers if we can. Deontay Johnson looks to get traded by the end of the week. Dallas Cowboys, Niners. Niners take this one home, but oh my gosh, is it the breakout day for CeeDee Lamb? Just like last week, post-bye, smash. 13 for 146 and 2 scores. He is the offense, and that is the only part of the offense. Dalvin Cook does not cook. Rico Dowdle came into this one sick, doesn't play. And that's why we have just nothing here. You will never be starting Zeke, even if he gets a touchdown. You don't want to start Dalvin. None of these guys. Rico Dowdle is the only one, and CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson gets the volume, but very, very little yardage. Niners, Purdy with the banged up lineup. Debo back in this one from pneumonia, 4 for 71. Kittle's Kittle did smashes. 6 for 128 and a touchdown again. He's going to feast while he's healthy with no Brandon Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall, 4 for 38. Isaac Guerrero looks good after Jordan Mason leaves after re-aggravating his shoulder injury. Now they're on a bye this week. CMC is supposed to be back, so we'll see how that plays out. Keep an eye on it. And then last night, Steelers 26-18 against the Giants. Steelers look good. Yet again, Russell Wilson, 20 of 28, 271 or 278 and a score. Najee, another banger of a day. 19 carries, 114 yards. Jaylen Warren, efficient, but just not enough volume for him. George Pickens, again, not the volume we want to see, but he does have that average depth of target that is way downfield where you can, rely on less volume when you get the big plays out of him. Yeah, great day overall for the Steelers. And then if you're looking at the Giants, Daniel Jones, rough day for him. Tyron Tracy, absolute dog, does leave at the end of the game with a concussion, but seemingly takes over this backfield. Keep an eye on him for concussion protocol if he does play. Pretty sure he has a good next 2 games if he can get out of concussion protocol. Malik Neighbors gets a ton of volume, 7 for 71. That's about it there. Tyron Tracy must start moving forward. If we're looking next week, they play the Commanders, and then the week after, the Giants play the Panthers. So that's the one in Germany. So if Tyron Tracy is good to go, especially against the Panthers, you're going to fire him right up. That's all we have for the recap. That was about 30 minutes of a recap. Let's talk about our best balls. So the little board we're still smashing in. So little board 2, briefly over this one because this one's been crushing. Yet another 123 this week, 1,049 points. Lamar Baker. The only issue we have right now is Mike Williams on this team, but everyone else is a good go. The other issues: Leo Herbert, Kenneth Gainwell, Jerome Ford seemingly phasing out with an injury too. But everything else on this lineup is good. We look at this one every week as it's been in first, like every week. This one's in 4th place, but again, remember in the little boards that the top 4 do advance. And this team did have a good week, 139 total points. So it does sneak up into 4th place. It's a Jordan Love, Matt Stafford, which that's going to take a beating with Jordan Love now out. If he misses next week, yeah, he has a groin strain, so I'd assume he misses the next week. And then they have a bye week, so just kind of be banking on Matt Stafford to carry us through the next couple weeks. But he won't be out for the season, luckily for Jordan Love. Kyron Williams, smash. Zach Moss, hit or miss. Brian Robinson, smash. Chuba Hubbard with Bryce Young, ew. Another team with Gainwell, Mitchell's 0, Abinaconda 0. Christian Kirk now off for the season, but Ridley looks back. Mooney, good. Thielen should be back soon. Robinson a hit now that Puka and Kupp are back. Elijah Moore finally looking good with Jameis. And Zay Jones still a 0. So Titans are good now that Kelsey is like crushing. But Laporta is still not enough passing volume in that offense. Anyway, let's look at the big board where we have 3 advancing. We have 2 third place teams in the first place. We'll look at the first place team. 1,084 points. I mean, this team, we look at it every week too. We're not going to have Jordan Love for the next couple weeks, presumably, but Lamar doesn't have a bye till week 14. But then Jordan Love should be back. Breece Hall, Ramondre, so good here. Devin Singletary seemingly lost his job, but with Tracy now out, has 2 potential good matchups. We just talked about that on the stream. Debo looking good with no Ayuk. Rest of way, Adams yet to look good for the Jets. Reed not going to be good with Willis, presumably. Deontay needs traded. Shaheed a 0. Worthy looks good. We just talked about Moore looks good. Bateman looks good. Noah Brown catches a huge Hail Mary for us. And Jawan Jennings should be back after the bye week. And then Kittle is on a bye. So we'll be relying on 0 tight ends because they're both on a bye. And we drafted these before the bye weeks come out. So sweet. That team might take a little hit this week. This third place little board team scored 150 this week. AR, Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix. We've seen this one before on stream as well. But it has Gibbs, JT, Pollard, Moss. Like the running backs are crushing in this one. Kupp's back now. We have Neighbors, Kupp, Pickens, Downs, who crushes, Franklin. The only 0 we really have is going to be Corley, Shaheed, and Jones. Yoshivas hasn't done anything the past few weeks, though. But the tight end smash, K-Dot and Njoku. This other third place team we have is Kyler, T-Law, and Russ. So not a bad quarterback room there. Pacheco comes back, could definitely be a smash. This running back room is killer. This is no Rashee Rice, Pittman Downs. One of them smashes so we have that contingency. But we're gonna have 2 zeros, 3 zeros now with Rice, Mims, and Zay Jones. But this team's not the best. But you never know. Get a team through, you never know. Looking at the regular season stuff, the Poodle, we have a 6th place team. We're focusing just on the teams advancing though. 3 out of 9 fast puppies, all in 1st place, and then we have a 4th place, a 6th place, 7th place. Again, any given week, things can change. You can put up 160, 150 points. Move up a ton when a team scores 90. So a Lamar Stafford team with Montgomery, Kamara, Moss, Javonte, Foreman, the decent running back group. Missing Evans the next few weeks. Hey, missing Higgins is gonna hurt, but luckily Kupp is now back. Jefferson already passed on the bye. Palmer showing signs of life, maybe. Demarcus Robinson finally back. McMillan has his opportunities with no Mike Evans, so that's our contingency plan there. And the tight ends, Juwan Johnson, obviously, like I said, cleared after being evaluated. So he does clear concussion protocol, so decent tight end group. This one, smashing 1,053 points. The only thing the guy behind us is also smashing. Lamar Herbert with Henry, Jacobs, Eckler, Hubbard, and CH, who still has 0. Another inactive. For some reason, they like Carson stealing Samaje Perine over CEH. Like, he came back from his mental health issues and wants to get benched for those bombs. I mean, whatever. Same thing. Jefferson off bye. Adams yet to do something. Worthy good. McConkey crushing. Courtland Sutton crushing. Bateman rushing this year. The only real zero here is going to be Brendan Rice. Cooks should be back soon. And then tight ends smashing. Browers, Hawkinson back this upcoming week, and John is. So like that team a lot. Other fast puppy team. Hurts, Knicks, sick ass team for sure. Running backs, Cook, White back finally in our lives, doing well. Need Dowdle though to play. That'll be sick. Estimate is going to be a 0 probably for the year, barring injury. Collins should be back, but we lose Diggs, so now we're without Collins and Diggs this week. But Coleman hanging it there for us. AJ Brown, Sutton, Shaheed gonna be a 0. Looking for the rest of the way. Burton getting some time. Mims gonna be a 0. Goddard out. Again, not the worst team. Let's look at the puppy 3. 10 entries, 3 teams advance. Whoa. Puppy 3, 2 teams advancing, but we also have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in 3rd place. So that's nice. Only top 2 advance in these. 1,050 for this team. Jaden Daniels stack with Terry. Stafford with DeMarcus Robinson. And a Carr stack with Shaheed. Obviously, Shaheed's hurt, but good team with Bijan, Achan, Dobbins, Justice Hill, Tank Bigsby, all smashes. Even Charbonnet with the contingent upside of AW. Quarterbacks are good enough. DK, he hopefully plays this upcoming week, but they could hold him out for the bye. Who knows? Terry looks good. Deontay needs traded. JSN, even without DK, didn't do much. Kobe looking better with no Devontae. Shaheed's now 0. And then the tight end group is solid. The 2nd place team is pretty close to 1st, actually. 5 points back with Caleb Baker. Fields looks good here. We talked about Singletary, Jefferson, DJ Moore, need to Higgins to play. Godwin's going to be now out for the year. So meh. Yeah, not the worst team, but see this 3rd place team. We're really far behind in this one. They have 2,000 pointers. I don't really think that one has a chance. Maybe, you never know. Let's take a look at it. Hurts, Rogers, Barkley. I mean, no true zeros, really, besides Hollywood. Other 3rd place, not that far behind. This one has a chance. Williams, Carr, Darnold, with Pacheco, return looming. And Jonathan Brooks return looming. with Henry, Najee, and Eckler holding us afloat, with our whole wide receiver room healthy, tight end room getting healthy with Hawkinson. This team could do well. I like that team. That team could advance. This team also not far behind. Running back room is crushing. Puka back. Ugh. Godwin being hurt crushes us, and Samuel being a 0, and Williams. We really don't have Lockett, Reed. Yeah, that one's not looking too pretty in the last third place team. We also have a chance here. Kyler Stroud, Cook. Tough look on the running backs there. No Nico Collins. Don't like that team that much either. We look at probably 2. One team advancing, one team in 4th. We're literally behind by 0.42. Allen Gino, good there. Running backs healthy and good. Knock on wood. Receivers need Higgins to be healthy. Shaheed out for the year. Roman Wilson now out, presumably for the rest of best ball. Honestly, just on IR. But Thielen should be coming back. We just have Slayton, Thielen, Williams, Addison, Higgins. Not horrible. Not mad at it. The puppy won. 2 teams advancing, a team in 5th. This first place team looks pretty solid. We put up 166 this week. Another Lamar team, Cousins team, Russ team. At this point in the season, really just hoping like people are healthy, right? So going through our lineups and seeing like who's healthy. So good. He's back in our lives, good. Edwards is not good. Bucky though is the nice late round pick here. Nico Collins being back in a few weeks will be huge for this team. Purcell has a path to playing and being on the field and upside, so that's nice. Troy Franklin has his path to upside finally. Al Pitts and Kate Otten also have their paths. Not a bad team there. This team also has a chance to be in first. A 4 QB build. What was I thinking? A 4-5-7-2. Very, very interesting for sure. But we'll take it because it's in second. The running backs are stout and sturdy, scamming touchdowns with Roschon. The only problem is no Ayuk. Potentially no Brian Thomas this week. Gabe Davis should play week 9, so that would be big to have him back. IR. So really we have 1, 2, 3, 4 healthy receivers. Yeah. Not great there. This 5th place team isn't that far out of it. It just put up no points this week because Levis and Watson don't play, and now Love's gonna miss. So this team doesn't even have a quarterback. So this team is pretty much wraps with no quarterback healthy. Or yeah. Unless Levis plays. Nothing there. And the last one, Vinny Schnauzer, a team in 2nd and a team in 4th. 2nd place team, 1,008 points with Hurts, Mayfield. Unfortunately, this is our Evans Godwin team. So no Godwin rest of the way, but the rest of the team is, presumably healthy, just not good, honestly. So I don't really like this team either. Like Zamir White, not good. Yeah. He might have some tough sledding moving forward. Now we want to look at the marathon. We are close on weekly winners. Actually, let's look at our resurrection teams. We have one team moving on, a team in 3rd and a team in 4th. So we did pretty good on the resurrections for a small sample size. We had, good weeks. Not this one, actually. 97 is not going to cut it. But we're right there. We've had banger weeks the first couple ones. Remember, this is only the 3rd week for Best Ball Resurrection. It started in week 6. It goes to week 14. It's only week 8. The end of week 8, so. But Howler Purdy. healthy. Gibbs, K-Dub, Warren, Gibson, Davis, Corum, all healthy with contingents. Ooh, no Ayuk, so gonna be a 0 the whole way. But healthy, 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 healthy but not good. Healthy, healthy, but also not in a good offense. And good. So, like that team. Third place team, healthy. Look at this. We predicted it. Healthy and playing. Not healthy, but don't care. Healthy. Hopefully gets back in there. Healthy. Wide receiver 1 next week. Healthy, but horrible quarterback. Healthy. Gonna be healthy. So again, at the end of the day, we're just trying to sneak teams in to advance, to have a chance. And the other part of this is just like, praying that your guys stay healthy. It's a long season. Guys get on IR, guys come off IR. If your teams advance, with a guy that was on IR a lot of the year, for reference, like Pacheco, they're probably gonna have low advance rates. But if you can sneak one through and he gets healthy for the fantasy football playoffs, it could be huge. So hoping some of that happens for us, hoping our teams just stay healthy in general. But we're advancing at a little bit above the normal rate of like 16%. We're probably advancing like 19-20%. But again, the advance rate doesn't matter. It takes one. Only one can win. So if we sneak one in, that could be the single bullet that, hits. So hopefully that happens. Appreciate you guys for watching. That's 46 minutes of our recap today. Also a recap of the games in general, injuries, and all that nonsense. Even talked a little about who to pick up, who to start moving forward. Please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please comment down below if you like these videos, what we could do better with these videos. Again, these are only live streams. We really only live stream. I do want to start to put out an updated video for the fantasy football playoffs, and also who to target going into weeks 12 through 14 to get you there, and then who to target trade wise to help you in the fantasy football playoffs based on matchups, and trade comps, things like that. But I appreciate you guys, like I said, for watching. For those of you who are either watching live or rewatching this, please also comment any questions you may have about your redraft leagues. Hopefully I can help you guys out there. I'm by no means perfect. I will give you my, thoughts and analysis, try to answer in a, respectful and, thoughtful manner to give you my insights and takes on things. But like I said, appreciate